Good morning. This is going to just be an overview about Google Meets. So I first wanted to just show you that Google Meets is one of the apps inside your 3x3 array. Here's what it looks like. What is it? Well, it's a video conferencing app that's very similar to Zoom. It's district supported. The district has paid for it, so it is free to us and it will remain that way for now. It integrates seamlessly within Google Classroom for grade levels using Google Classroom and within our Google Suite. So any of those emails that end in @dcsd or @s.dcsd. You can record and share a session in Google Meets just like we also could in Zoom. Here is what it looks like if you were inside of a Google Meet. You're going to see there will be your face or the participant's face. And then let's talk about the settings around the side. Down here, this will have the nickname of the meeting or just the descriptor of the meeting. So if it's in Google Classroom, it'll just be random letters. Or if you've created a nickname, that'll be the nickname for it. Here is how you turn your microphone on and off. Here is how you could turn your camera on and off. Here is how you would leave the meeting. Here is the Present Now button. And then these are the features of how you can tell who is there in that chat function. With those people, you can pin a participant, which means like if you wanted to make sure one person, because in it, it can move around a little bit. So if you wanted one person focused on the screen, you could go in and click on that little thumbtack, which is right here. You could mute a person. You could also remove a person. You could do that for discipline, of course, but also if you're thinking about those reading conferences in Google Meets, there is not a waiting room. So that might be how you have to remove a lingering kid, or if they don't know where the leave button is, then you know how to do it. The 3 buttons down here just give you some more tools, like how you would record a meeting. It's not the same as Zoom. They'd be embedded within those 3 tools. Now let's talk about how you're going to create a Google Meet. Now, this part, I'm going to ask you to be patient. I've outlined this in multiple ways because there are lots of different ways, and you need to figure out what works best for your students. I'm giving you some recommendations based on grade levels. If you're a classroom teacher in 2nd through 5th grade and you are already using Google Classroom, I would recommend that you use Google Classroom. This is what it would look like if you did that. Here I have set up a Google Classroom. I would come over here to my gear. I would scroll down to Meet, and I would turn this on. Then I'm going to click on Save. And now you'll notice that my Meet link is recorded right there. Now I'm also enrolled in this as a student. So you can see that Meet link isn't right there because I just saved it. So I'll need to refresh my screen. And now I can go into that Meet. What Google Classroom is allowing, or kind of almost preventing is a better word, is if this student tried to click on the link before you have started the class, they are going to say they will not be able to get in. They are going to say that there is a problem joining this call. So what I would do as the teacher is I would turn on the Meet. I'd click on that. That's already generated. I would join the Meet right here. Okay. I would ignore all of this because this was in Google Classroom and the Google Classroom kids just need to do that link. It's going to give me some feedback, so I'm going to turn my sound off. So I didn't want that to give you feedback. So you could see how from the student's viewpoint, I could see that there were 2 people. And from the teacher's viewpoint, I could also see that there were 2 people. Now that she has left, I would go ahead and end this Google Meet, or it'll say leave call. So I'd end that Google Meet. If, because the meeting has ended, if they tried to go back into it, it would get that same situation of saying, sorry, we've encountered a problem. So it is preventing the students from going back into a Google Meet when you are not there. Another way is we can create a nickname. So this is what I have been doing for leadership. This is what I would do if I was an RTI person or an interventionist that's working with intermediate kids or kids that know how to use or know how to get into their email. So what that would look like is here from this viewpoint, I would go into Google Meets. I would start a meeting. Here is the nickname. So I'm going to call it Fleet Test 123, and then I'm going to click on continue. Now, in order for the class to start, here I could go into join now. But because I have a nickname, I'm only going to worry about this Fleet Test 123. Notice that it's only good for people that are using their Douglas County School District domain. So what you would do with that is you can see to make that a web address or a URL, you would have to start with this part right here. So I put that there, and then I put my nickname in. Once I do that, this is my hyperlink. So I could copy this and I could drop that into an email so that other people could get into my class. This also, from the student viewpoint, when they click on that link, they would get that join now button. They will only be allowed to get in if you are already starting the call, if you've already started the call, and it's only within Douglas County School District users. So you cannot send that to a parent with a Comcast account. So what you would do for my kindy and first grade teachers, your kids, most of them do not know their logins. So what you would do is instead of, so here, if I come back and I want to kind of, so this was the screen. If I go into that add people page, actually, let's just close out. I apologize. And let's just start a new one so I can show you what it would look like without the nickname. So here I would go into Google Meets. Here I would join or start a meeting. I still would write something in here. So I probably would call it like Fleet Reading and continue. Again, I am not going to use that nickname because I want to be able to send it outside of Douglas County. So here I am going to copy this joining info right here. Okay. I probably then would come into my email, compose my email, and do my classroom list, which for me, remember, is all of you. Let's see if it's going to let me do that. And then I would just drop that link. So here, if I add that, okay, it's not going to let me, but you could just drop that link right into an email and send that to parents. With that, then the parents will be able to get in. What you do need to know is that those parents or the kids, so the parents would click on the link and get the kid into your Google Meet. The kids could be in there before you start the call. So it's just something to think about when you're doing that. The last way that you might do it, and I was thinking, I know a lot of special ed have been doing this, is by using a Google Meet in your calendar. So here you would come and you would go down into calendar. And then you would create an event. So I will probably do this for leadership because it's easy to kind of get it organized and have everybody on the same page. So when I go into create, I'm going to go down to more options. And then here, so I know I'm going to call it, it'll be the leadership meeting tomorrow. So I would come in here, I'm going to change the day, the time. Tomorrow leadership is at 1. And here I want to turn on this add conferencing piece. Okay, because that's how they're going to get that Google Meet account. So here I might say, I know Christy's on leadership. Let's just pretend I wanted to show what it looked like to go outside of the organizers. And let's just pretend Cora Roon is on leadership, just so you could kind of see what it looks like for all three. Notice my external Gmail account has a star next to it because it's showing you it's not within the district and it can't write on my calendar. But if I go in to save, it's going to ask me, do you want to send invitation? So here I do want to send those invitations out. It's telling you, are you sure there's this email address that's outside of Douglas County? Do you want to do that? For my kindy and first grade teachers, if you chose to do this, you would say yes, because you're inviting those parents in to your account, and then it will send them an email so that they can get in that way. Again, the concern is, especially when you go outside of Douglas County School District, the domain, people can get into that Google Meet before or after you leave. So just make sure, just be aware of that. The last thing I really wanted to show you, and I played around with this a lot, is you guys have been doing such a great job with those reading conferences. So I wanted to show what that might look like if you were doing that in Google Meets. So see how I'm already still in my Meets. We could pretend I have another student in here. I just don't want you to have that feedback. What I would want to do to project or present my screen, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Here, the first thing I would do is I'm actually going to pull this tab out and I'm going to kind of shrink it over on the side so that I could see the student I'm reading with. Then I'm going to go in here to this Present Now button. And I just want to present a window. And the window I want to present is one of my Chrome windows. So I'm going to go up here. And I want to, so here I'm presenting the tab so you can see the story that I would be showing. And here I kind of could move it around a little bit so I could see the student as well. I put a little picture in here to show what it would look like. There is not a waiting room feature, so just to kind of keep that in mind, but you can see I had Kelly and myself. I was pretending that Kelly was my reader, and then we were sharing this text together. So that's how I moved that tab over so I could see all of it. The last thing I might recommend is this Google Meet grid view. A lot of us in Zoom like that Brady Bunch view. Well, Google Meets does not default to that. You just need to go in and click on that extension. And when you click on that extension, you'll get this little 4 square grid right there. The last things on here are just other resources that the district has put together that I included if we need to kind of dive deeper into Google Meets. Thanks for listening.